The sun was slowly sinking into the Pacific, setting the Malibu sky on fire. Shades of deep orange, soft gold, and quiet purple stretched across the horizon, as if the world itself was pausing to breathe. Annabelle stood on the balcony of her oceanfront home. A book rested in her lap, untouched. The words on the pages meant nothing tonight. Her eyes were fixed on the waves below, crashing gently against the rocks, steady, patient, endless. This house, this peaceful, expensive, carefully designed home, it wasn't luck. It wasn't inheritance. It was 16 years of silence, pain, discipline, and survival. 16 years without a single call. Without a single message. Without a single "Mom, are you okay?" Annabelle exhaled slowly. She had learned how to breathe again, alone. Just as she turned a page she hadn't read, the sound cut through the calm. The doorbell rang. She froze. No one came unannounced. Her friends always called. And evenings like this belonged only to her. The ocean, the quiet, and the life she had rebuilt piece by piece. Barefoot, she walked across the Italian marble floor. Each step carried a strange weight she hadn't felt in years. Not fear, not excitement. Something deeper. She opened the door. And time collapsed. Sophia stood there. Her daughter. Almost 40 now. The softness of youth had vanished from her face. Thin silver strands ran through her hair. Her eyes looked hollow, exhausted, the kind of exhaustion sleep can't fix. And on her lips was a smile Annabelle recognized instantly. A forced smile. The same one Sophia had worn 16 years ago when she walked away. Behind her stood Lucas. Still tall but no longer confident. His shoulders slouched forward, as if carrying invisible debt. The sharp salesman's gaze that once filled the room was gone, replaced by defeat and quiet panic. Their clothes told the rest of the story. Old. Worn. Outdated. The kind of clothes people wear when life has been postponing them for years. For a brief moment, Annabelle felt nothing. No anger. No joy. No shock. Just clarity. Then the memories rushed in, fast and merciless. She opened the door wider. "Well," Annabelle said lightly, her voice steady, controlled. "This is unexpected. Is it a surprise party? Or did I forget an invitation?" Sophia's hand lifted, hesitating in the air, as if reaching for a hug that didn't belong anymore. "Mom, we're very late." Annabelle didn't take the hand. She tilted her head slightly, studying the face she once memorized in her sleep. "Late," she repeated softly. "No, Sophia. You didn't come late. You erased time itself." Silence swallowed the porch. 16 years, Annabelle continued. No calls. No messages. No letters. Nothing. Lucas cleared his throat, the same nervous habit he'd always had. "We're in trouble," he said quickly. "I lost my job. The house is going into foreclosure. The kids' school fees, rent, everything is falling apart. We thought maybe you could help." Annabelle laughed. Not loudly. Not cruelly. Just empty. "Help," she said. "That's interesting. When I had nothing, I was interfering. Now that your bank account is empty, suddenly I'm useful again." She stepped aside. "Come in." They entered. The house spoke before she did. Floor-to-ceiling glass walls opened to the ocean. Cream leather sofas. Warm lights reflecting off polished marble floors. A quiet kind of wealth, the kind that doesn't need to announce itself. Sophia's eyes moved across the room uncontrollably. Disbelief. Envy. Regret. Annabelle walked into the kitchen and made coffee, for herself only. She didn't ask them if they wanted any. Small boundaries mattered. She sat across from them. "So," she said calmly, "tell me, who decided I didn't belong anymore? Was it Lucas's advice? Or did you decide on your own that your mother no longer fit into your perfect life?" Sophia broke. Tears spilled down her face. "Mom, I was weak. Lucas said you were always interfering, that you were controlling, that you criticized everything we did." Annabelle nodded slowly. "Interfering," she said. "All I ever did was care. But you handed your judgment over to him. And now where did that lead you?" Lucas's tone hardened. "Enough of this. We came for help, not a lecture." Annabelle smiled, slowly, deliberately. "This isn't my drama, Lucas," she said. "This is yours. You destroyed my life once. Now I'm just watching yours. She stood up. And I'm not finished talking. Sophia's quiet sobs filled the room. Annabelle didn't rush to comfort her. She didn't interrupt the silence. She had learned long ago that silence often tells the truth better than words. Her gaze drifted past the glass walls, toward the darkening ocean. And slowly the present dissolved. 16 years earlier, Ohio. Rain hammered against the windows of a small, worn apartment. The sky was heavy and gray, as if it already knew what was about to be lost. The furniture was old, the carpet thin. The clock on the wall ticked loudly, each second pressing into Annabelle's chest. Sophia stood near the door, a bag at her feet. Her body was tense, her eyes restless. Annabelle was in the kitchen making coffee, clinging to routine, as if something normal could stop something permanent. "Mom," Sophia said, her voice firm but shaky, "we need space. You're too involved. You comment on everything. Every decision." Annabelle turned slowly. "I'm your mother," she said. "If I don't worry about you, who will?" Sophia looked away. "Lucas says you interfere too much. That you try to control our marriage." That sentence landed like a crack in glass. Annabelle looked out the window. Lucas was sitting in the car, engine running. Ready. Impatient. As if he were picking up luggage, not a wife. "You're leaving?" Annabelle asked, her voice barely holding. Sophia inhaled deeply. "We've decided. We need distance." The rain grew heavier. Annabelle didn't move. She didn't cry, not yet. Sophia opened the door, then paused. "You're becoming a burden, Mom." The door closed. That night, Annabelle sat on the floor with her phone in her hands. She checked it every few minutes. No calls. No messages. She told herself Sophia would come back. That this was anger, not abandonment. Days passed. Then weeks. Then months. Nothing. Annabelle watched her grandchildren grow up through social media. First steps. First birthdays. First holidays. She wasn't tagged. She wasn't mentioned. She didn't exist. Every photo cut deeper than the last. Years passed. One morning, Annabelle stood in front of the mirror and barely recognized herself. Dark circles under her eyes. Shoulders slumped. A woman shrinking inside her own life. "How long will you disappear for them?" she asked herself. That was the day she sold the house. She moved to California with no goodbye and no announcement. The beginning was brutal. A tiny rented kitchen. Cheap ovens. Burned hands. Long nights. She baked cakes with tears in her eyes and determination in her chest. One customer became two. Two became 10. Then one day the cakes sold out, and people waited. That was the moment Annabelle realized she was building something real. Annabelle's oven became a name. One store. Then two. Then more. She traveled. She made friends. She laughed again. And most importantly, she chose herself. The present returned. Sophia wiped her face. "Mom, I was weak. I trusted Lucas. He said you would always interfere. That you would never let us live our own life." Annabelle nodded slowly. "I wasn't controlling you," she said quietly. "I was protecting you." Lucas leaned forward, irritation sharp in his voice. "This is all ancient history. We came here for help, not guilt." Annabelle smiled, calm, steady, unshaken. "I've been helping myself for 16 years, she replied. She stood and walked to a drawer. Inside was a thick folder. She placed it on the table. "This," she said, "is the life I built without you." The room was silent. The folder lay on the table like a mirror, reflecting everything that had been lost and everything that had been rebuilt. Sophia stared at it, her hands trembling, but she didn't open it. Annabelle did. Photos appeared one by one. A tiny kitchen with a single oven. Annabelle standing alone, flour on her hands. The first storefront. Annabelle's oven handwritten on the glass. A newspaper article. An award. Then another store. Then another. Photos from Italy, France, Japan. Smiling faces. New friends. A life restored. "This," Annabelle said quietly, "is what grew in the space you left empty." Sophia's voice broke. "Mom, are you happy now?" Annabelle didn't answer immediately. She walked to the glass wall and looked out at the ocean. The waves were dark now, steady, endless. "Happiness," she said, isn't something someone gives you. It's something you protect. She turned. Yes, Sophia. I'm happy. Because I found myself again. Lucas leaned forward, desperation sharpening his tone. What about the children? They're your grandchildren. Don't they matter? Annabelle's smile changed, not cruel, not soft. Clear. They matter, she said. But you taught them that forgetting grandma was acceptable. She paused. Now you get to teach them why some doors don't reopen. Lucas stood abruptly, anger flashing across his face. So that's it? After everything you have, you won't help us. Annabelle met his eyes, steady, unafraid. What I have isn't wealth, she said. It's the price you were unwilling to pay. Sophia stood, tears streaming. I was wrong, Mom. I want to come back. We can fix this. Annabelle raised her hand gently. No. One word. Unbreakable. I forgive you, Annabelle said softly, because holding hatred would drag me back into the woman I barely survived. She stepped closer. But forgiveness does not mean surrender. It does not mean I sacrifice myself again. She gestured toward the door. My life is whole now. No explanations. No conditions. Lucas clenched his jaw. You'll regret this. Annabelle's voice remained calm. No. Regret would look like tears. And I'm smiling. Sophia looked at her mother one last time. Not as a daughter, but as a witness to a woman who had chosen herself. The door closed behind them. Quietly, Annabelle returned to the balcony. Night had settled over the ocean. Stars scattered across the sky. She inhaled deeply and picked up her phone. Call the team, she said. Announce the new branch. A pause. The name. Sophia's legacy. She smiled. Not for them. For herself. For every woman who was abandoned and chose to rise instead of disappear. Some bonds are made by blood. But legacies are built with courage, silence, and self-respect. Annabelle looked up at the stars. 16 years later. She was finally free. And if something like this has ever happened in your life, a moment where you had to choose yourself over blood, pain, or guilt, tell us your story in the comments. Your voice matters.